This is my evil. This is the one thing that something has always told me, that when I can figure out, I will know the answer to everything. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about truth. What is the truth? And I'm seeing an awful lot of fear. A lot of people want to save themselves. Save ourselves from this evil that's on the planet. But every one of them are smoking. And I think this is, I challenge anybody that I see on YouTube that is worried about anybody killing you. When you're smoking this thing, and you know damn well this thing is going to kill you, what's the point in worrying about whether somebody else is going to kill you when you've got this killing yourself? Now a lot of people will think, oh, that won't kill me. Well, if this won't kill you, then nothing will. This is evil. And a lot of us aren't going to face that bear. Communicate with evil and see what evil wants. Now, I've described, or because this is a book, this tape is, I'm taping it so somebody's writing this book for me. So I may be repeating a lot of things in a lot of my other YouTube videos. But there is this concept. I wanted to find solutions to a few problems. I'm a problem solver. It seems my entire life has been faced with one problem after another. And I was always told, you're strong. You can do it. And that influenced me to believe that, yeah, I'm strong. I can do it. I can do anything. Except quit this habit. Why do I have this habit? Why do I know it's killing me? So, my life experience was solve one problem after another. And as soon as I solved one problem, there was another problem. And then another problem, and then another problem. Had a massive problem with my marriage. Tried solving that. And the solution to that was get a divorce, which created a lot of more problems. I had gone to a lot of counselors, did everything that was suggested. I followed everybody's advice, all government advice, all counselors' advice. I've read every friggin' book on the planet on how to solve problems. And ultimately, one of the problems or solutions that was suggested is, well, sometimes it's walk away. If you can't make a marriage work, walk away. So I followed that advice. And lo and behold, it increased the problem. So every time that I thought I was solving problems, I was actually creating more and more problems. Until I ran into this new science called holodynamics, which is a combination of everything we know today, all sciences. Holo, meaning whole. Dynamic, meaning everything is dynamic. The dynamics of everything. The whole dynamics of everything. We're seeing WikiLeaks come out and we think that this is really wrong. And it's like, how is that wrong when if you want to solve a problem, you have to actually know the whole dynamic of the problem. You need to know all of the information to be able to gain some understanding of the problem so that you'll know how to solve it. It's like when you design any type of product, you design a prototype and then you test it out and you see where it's gone wrong. So when you have a problem, it's best to sort of make a prototype of that problem in some way. Gain as much information as you can from that problem, and then you'll find out where it doesn't work. And that's kind of what holodynamics does, is it makes this image of the problem, and you gain some information from it. Evil is an aspect of all problems. Bibles say, don't you dare talk to evil. Wayne Dyer, the most positive person on the planet, is saying, as soon as your brain goes down a negative thought, that's the time your brain is going down a wrong direction. Run away. Think positive. Think positive. It seems thinking positive at all times is like run towards God and always run away from evil. Always run away from the problem. And this time, I decided to face evil. What does it want? So using this holodynamics concept, the theory is that the problems that are within inside you are like a ball of string wrapped tightly around inside you. So when it's inside you, you can't see it. The only thing you can see is everything that's outside of you. Doesn't it feel like all of these problems are caused by somebody else who's doing something to you? Doesn't it feel like the universe is coming at you, causing your hell? Yet you have this problem inside you. Could you be your own problem? Could I be my own problem? So the concept is, take the problem outside of yourself. And the way to do that is visualize it. Give it a size. How big is that problem? This smoking addiction is as big as the friggin' universe. There's nothing bigger in my life than that smoking addiction. So when I give it a size, it's as big as the friggin' universe. It's also really black, dark, unknown. Give your problem a size and a color. And give it a shape. My shape is very round. It's almost like the size of the universe, the shape of the universe, and the color of the universe. So once you can visualize your problem, you can start communicating with it. And it turns out that it's evil. It's Satan. So every problem, if you notice, we're running away from our problems. We're running away from Satan. We don't want to find out what the hell does Satan want. And the concept is get to know your problem. Find out what it wants. And give it to it. It wants something. So technically, if this problem is inside of me, and yes, okay, I take it out and have this conversation, it wants something, and the concept is give it what it wants. That would be like giving Satan everything he wants. That would go against every religious belief. That would be like, oh my God, that's the worst possible thing you can possibly do. And it's like, let's think about that. If this evil is inside me, this problem, any problem, this is just my smoking addiction, but any problem that you are experiencing in your life, it's inside you. You're feeling it. So if you take it out and you have a conversation with it, and it wants something, and you give it to your problem. You give evil what it wants. Aren't you ultimately giving yourself something? Aren't you giving yourself something that you do not have? What a concept. It's very similar, like if you go into a counseling office and they say, what's your problem? Well, you define it. In a way, you're kind of giving it a shape, you're giving it a color, you're giving it a size. And a good counselor will never influence you. However, questions are influencing you to answer in the direction that they want you to answer it to. So, in a way, all counselors, all medical professions that are going to work on your psyche are influential. Basically, anybody that gets into any form of counseling has issues. They have problems that they go in and get an education trying to solve their problems. And ultimately, they find out that, oh, if I solve the world's problems, then the world will be great. I will feel good if I'm helping everybody else solve their problems. Yet they haven't solved their own problems. Most counselors need a counselor, because they're all basically trying to run away from problems. From my personal experience, every time I've gone into a counselor, first of all, no counselor has ever worked for me. Why? Because I've been able to distinguish my problems perfectly. I can describe my problem perfectly. And then they'll say, well, what's your solution? And I'll know what the solution is at all times. And then they'll always say, well, what are you doing here? So any appointments I've ever had, they've never been able to question me on, well, maybe you're going in the wrong direction. They've all agreed with me to the point where they'd say, well, why are you here? So I've never really found any form of counseling too helpful. They seem to have more issues than I have, and can't really point out any of my own personal contradictions. Mostly because I've studied their books. I see where their mindset is. I've seen their logic. I've used their logic. So when I go into a counseling session, I'm using the logic that they would use. I'm just as smart as they are when I'm trying to solve my problem. So I needed a new tool, which this holodynamic seems to be totally friggin' amazing. And you seem to turn into what you hate. I've turned out to really hate counselors. I've turned out to really hate these motivational speakers. I really turned out to hate people that write books that think they know what the hell they're talking about. And look at what I'm doing. I seem to, hey, here's some advice. Here's some counseling for you. Here's a book. You know, I kind of am coming across as though I have the answers to something. I've turned into everybody that I hate. So be careful what you hate, because you will turn into it. So, message of that is, I am no leader. This book is more of an instruction guide to what I use to solve my problems, and only a suggestion to say, you are your own book. You are your own guide. I am no leader. I am no guide. I don't know the answers to everything. Only you know the answers to everything in your life. Just like I have the answers to everything in my life. I know when I find out the answers to the smoking addiction, I'll have the answers to everything in my life, not for anybody else's life. So I have this conversation with the smoking addiction. What the hell does it want? Really, really interesting conversation I've had with it. I'll continue on another tape.